Hey, I'm Lana from Lana Glowshot Art, and in this video, we'll be exploring the supplies inside the June 2025 Premium SketchBox. This month, we're working with oil pastels, which are the perfect medium for exploring color mixing and mark making. Ready? Let's go. The surface in this month's box is the Stonehenge oil paper by Legion. This 100% cotton paper is specifically designed for oil-based media, which will be perfect for our Van Gogh oil pastel set of 6. These rich, vibrant colors include white, carmine, yellow, fir green, phthalo blue, and blue violet. I'll be demonstrating a variety of different blending techniques with oil pastels throughout this video. The first technique I'll show you begins with a gradient between two colors. Here I'm pressing very, very lightly with my carmine, and then I'm easing up on the pressure more and more as I move towards the right. Then I come in with the yellow and do the exact opposite from the other direction. To complete this blending technique, we need a specific tool, and I bet it's a tool that you've never used before, the SketchBox Signature Color Shapers. These silicone tip tools allow you to blend your oil pastels and to create a variety of different textures and marks. Here I'm using the color shaper with the cup round tip to smush the pigments together. I'm using very heavy pressure and I'm going back and forth between the yellow areas and the red areas until I get that really nice blend. Because oil pastels are soft and sticky, they can easily pick up pigment from other colors. This is especially true for the lighter colors like white and yellow. To avoid any unwanted color transfer, make sure to wipe your oil pastels clean with a piece of paper towel. The first blending technique I showed you is great for your base layers or for whenever you want a really light application of color. If you want brighter, thicker, richer colors, this next technique is going to be the one you want to use. Here I've started with a light gradient again, this time between yellow and fir green. But once I get that initial gradient in, I'm coming back over the top with these two oil pastels using more pressure. Each time I come over the top, I'm pressing a little bit harder and a little bit harder until all of the pigments smush together the way that I want. I'm going to show you one more blending technique, beginning with a gradient between phthalo blue and blue violet. Once I have that light, even gradient established, instead of coming back over the top with more layers of those two colors, I'm coming over the top with a new color. Here I'm using white to create tints, and this allows me to create this really beautiful baby blue to periwinkle transition. I don't have to get this perfect with my very first pass of white. I can go back over the top in multiple different directions to get the texture and the final surface quality that I want. Next, we have the Sennelier oil pastels in red gold, transparent blue, and reddish brown gold. These professional grade oil pastels were used by artists like Picasso. They're soft, buttery, and loaded with pigment. As you swatch and play around with these oil pastels, you'll notice some significant differences between them and the Van Goghs. Where the Van Goghs are a bit firmer and drier, making them great for base layers and precision, the Senneliers are softer, creamier, and more opaque, making them ideal for bold, expressive finishing touches. Let me show you a really fun way that you can use these two types of oil pastels together. I like the Van Goghs for a base layer, and here I'm applying a thin, light layer of carmine. Then, over the top, I'm coming in with my Sennelier pastels with very heavy pressure. Because the consistencies are so different between these two oil pastels, the Sennelier actually sits on top of the surface, and I can use my bullet tip color shaper to remove the Sennelier pastel and expose the carmine underneath. This can be a really fun and creative way to sign your piece when you're all done. The prompt this month is fresh fruit, so let's bring everything together and sketch an orange from life. Be sure to set up a light source so you can see a clear light and shadow part of the orange. To draw anything spherical, we're going to start with a circle, and then we need to establish a light source. Here I'm using carmine to create a core shadow on the sphere, and then I switch over to phthalo blue to create a cast shadow. This has established a light source coming from the top left corner and creating all of those shadows on the lower right side. Now I need to start making the orange. This will be a combination of yellow and carmine. And because carmine is such a bright, vibrant color, it's going to require a lot more yellow than it will of the carmine to create this orange. Once I have a few layers down, I'm going to come in with my color shaper and smush all the pigments together. Ooh, look at how vibrant they are already. I don't have to get everything perfect because these oil pastels can layer like crazy. So this is just a first layer. Now I'm coming in for the background, and I decided that I wanted the surface under the orange to be a light blue and the surface behind the orange to be a darker, deeper neutral color. So I am picking my colors accordingly, and again, starting with those light layers that I blend out with a color shaper. The light is moving across the background as well, so I want the right side of the background to be much deeper and darker than the left side. I'm using a yellow to blend out the colors on the left to make it a little lighter, and then a combination of carmine and fir green on the right to make the darkest color in this composition. Once I return from the background back to the orange, I'm working on really getting my oranges just right. I make sure to regularly clean off my yellow so I don't bring contaminated pigments in, but if I do, it's not the end of the world. I can continue to layer right over the top, or I can use one of my color shapers to scrape that pigment off. I do quite a bit of blending with white throughout this piece, both on the orange and on the surface under the orange to create those lighter creamy values. And then I use my bullet tip color shaper to just refine all of the edges. This can kind of act like a paintbrush or even like a blending stump to just close those white gaps around the subject. For the shadow on the orange, I use mostly carmine, but if this is too bright or intense, you can also let in a little bit of fir green or phthalo blue. For my finishing touches, I use the Sennelier oil pastels to add a little bit of sparkle and interest to a few key parts of the orange. And then I scraped some of this away to create a more convincing texture on the orange. Let's take a look at one more fruit drawing, this time with a little bit more complexity. Here I have several plums, and I start with my carmine and sketch them in really loosely. At this point, I can still move things around and change things if the proportions aren't quite right. But once I put a lot of pressure on, it's a lot harder to move things around. I also use a bit of phthalo blue to help me sketch in the leaves so that I can see them distinctly from the plums. Once my sketch is complete and I know where everything is, then I begin to come in with light layers of color to start establishing the light and the dark, just like I did in my orange. I'm using carmine for the plums, and then I'm switching over to fir green for the darkest part of the leaves. I'm also adding a little bit of phthalo blue to the sky background behind the plums, and then it's time to start refining and getting more specific with the color. I begin with the yellow and come in and start lightening up some of the value in the leaves. Then I switch over to my blue violet and add a bit of depth to the shadows of the plums. Now it's time to blend. I grab my cup round color shaper and use this with heavy pressure to blend out that first layer of oil pastels. This doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be clean, it's just that first initial blend out of color. With the next layers, I'm going to be refining, and I do that right away with deepening the shadows in my plums and adding in some more yellow and white to the light value to refine the color. When blending with white, I find it helpful to step back and test how the blending with white went. Did it get light enough? Do you need to add a little bit more? If you don't go in with so much pressure right away with your white, you're going to have quite a bit of space to continue to adjust and refine. I did this throughout all of the light parts of the plums and also in the background where I created that nice light blue. My plums aren't 100% done at this point, but I don't want them to get too far ahead of the rest of the drawing. So I jump into the leaves and start creating some more depth and dimension in that part. I'm using mostly the fir green and the yellow, and that gives me some really bright, vibrant greens. But if I need to tone those down at all, I'm switching over to the carmine, and I especially like that as I connect into the stems. I'm also using my cup round color shaper to blend out some of the areas in the background and to close the white gaps around different shapes. I continue to bounce around throughout the background, refining the leaves and creating a nice relationship between them and the plums until I get to a point where I feel like it's time to come back to the plums with a little bit more detail. Now I'm starting to incorporate my Sennelier oil pastels. I use the transparent blue for some of that reflected light on the bottom edge of the plum, and then I bring the other two colors in to add some shimmer and dimension to the reds that I've already built up throughout the plum. If I kept these shimmery metallic colors just in the plum, they might feel a little out of place. So I make sure to bring them throughout the rest of the composition as well. As I progress towards the end of this drawing, I am needing a little bit more of a sharp edge on my oil pastels, and many of these have gotten ground down as I've been working on the piece. So for the colors that I needed a sharper edge, I flipped my oil pastel to the other side and removed some of the paper. Now I have a nice, clean, sharp edge again, perfect for refining the shapes in the leaves and adding in some highlights. As always, step back and look at your work. Take some time to see what's working and make shifts where it isn't working as well. You can always use your color shapers for some final little details and your Sennelier oil pastels for those big pops of shimmery color. And now this piece is complete. I hope you learned a ton about working with oil pastels and mark making, and we can't wait to see what you create. So be sure to use the hashtag SketchBoxJune when you post your work online. For more unboxing videos and tutorials, you can check out our YouTube page where you can like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.